Thanks for joining us this week for UND Sports Extra. I'm Alex Heinert. Well, coming off an impressive win over the 2015 Big Sky champs Southern Utah, North Dakota was heavily favored entering this Saturday's contest against 2-4 Idaho State. After all, UND had won 5 straight games and had climbed their way back into the top 20, while the Bengals were coming off a disappointing 52-7 loss against Northern Arizona. But as is the case often in the turbulent air of the Big Sky, nothing is as easy as it seems. Let's go out to Pocatello, Idaho, and Holt Arena, the nation's oldest enclosed sports stadium still in use. UND had never lost a road game to ISU entering Saturday, though they did drop last year's meeting in Grand Forks. Early on, Bengals head coach Mike Kramer decides to roll the dice and go for it on 4th and 3 from the UND 33, but the defense is ready. Nice pass breakup from Dylan Bacher here to force the turnover on downs. On the ensuing possession, though, North Dakota returns the favor. Keaton Studsrud's pass gets deflected, and Hayden Stout comes up with the pick. Just the second interception this year for Studsrud, his first since the South Dakota game back in mid-September. Just 3 plays later, ISU would cash in. Sophomore quarterback Tanner Guller buys time and eventually finds K.W. Williams in the end zone for the score. 7-0 Bengals. After a 3-and-out for UND, Idaho State moves the ball back inside Fighting Hawk territory. Kramer again keeps the offense out on 4th and 2, and again, North Dakota's defense steps up. Guller comes up just short of the line to gain as UND gets their second 4th down stop of the opening stanza. With the football back in their possession, North Dakota's offense would start to get it going. Second play after the big stop, it's Studsrud hitting Noah Wanzik for 21 yards into Bengal territory. And after a 4th and 1 conversion to keep the drive alive, it's number 7 on the rollout, hitting Damon Mercer for 26 more. Same drive, different quarter, but the same results. Kyle Norberg getting in on the act a week removed from leading UND in rushing. That 13-yard carry makes it 1st and goal, and 2 plays later, Studsrud finishes off the 10-play, 71-yard drive to even the score at 7 apiece. After the North Dakota defense would force a 3-and-out, the junior quarterback would continue finding success through the air. Great grab here by Toivonen, and the freshman fights off the safety to walk in for his 3rd receiving score of the season. 14-7 UND, but just when it felt like the tide had turned, the Bengals would charge right back. Next ISU possession, Guller hits Michael Dean on the post from 38 yards out. Big score for the home side to tie things up heading into the break. UND would start the 3rd quarter on offense, and they would put together something special. Nice work by Studsrud here to avoid the rush and hit senior captain Luke Mathewson for 14 yards and a 1st down. Next set of downs, it's 4th and 1. Keaton finds Noah Wanzik over the middle for 11 to the ISU 25. Later in the drive, a 4th and 5 from the 9 for UND. They'd proceed to line up for the field goal with John Santiago as the holder, and the sophomore running back takes the snap and takes off. John dives for the 1st down marker and just stretches enough to make it. That sets up this on the next play. Brady Oliveira from 4 yards out on 1st and goal. 15 plays, 78 yards, 8 minutes, 14 seconds off the clock, and UND leads 21-14. Later in the 3rd, the ground game would get going. Santiago goes right up the middle here for 18 yards to midfield. Then 2 plays later, it's Travis Toivonen on the jet sweep. Damon Mercer with a great block to spring Travis for 27 deep inside Bengal territory. Then on the other side of the quarter break, it's Studsrud looking Josh Seibel's way, and what a grab by the junior from Bismarck. First touchdown catch of the year for Seibel after missing the first 4 games this season, and that would prove to be the game winner. Idaho State would score with a minute 23 left to cut the score to 28-21, but the onside kick would fail, and North Dakota would walk out of Pocatello with their 6th straight victory, the longest such streak for North Dakota since 2007. 3 more touchdowns for Studsrud, second 100-yard game of the season for Santiago, the 12th of his career. And after another solid effort defensively, UND now boasts the Big Sky's top scoring defense and top rush defense.
We knew the game was going to be a dogfight. I mean, every game in the Big Sky is a dogfight, and Big Sky has some competitiveness, and they came with a vengeance today, and I'm just happy that we came more physical and we came ready with the game plan.
They came ready to play. and you know, they schemed us in the first half a little bit, and we probably should have played with a little bit more life in the first half. But you know, during the season, you know, you got halves like that sometimes. You just got to get through it, and then the second half just regroup and play better. And I think we did the second half and just came out with the win.
It feels great to be back. It was a long, hard 6 months, 7 months for me, but it feels good to be back out there, and especially when I caught that pass, it just kind of just wanted to soak it all in. But I'm glad my coaches just kept faith in me and put me in there and gave me a chance.
I mean, every game is a big game, but especially against Weber State, it's a tough opponent. So we're going to come out tough, we're going to come out smart, we're going to come out physical. We're going to get the game plan this week and come out strong.
Well, the performance might not have been as sharp as we've seen in recent weeks, but you can bet Bubba Schweigert was still pleased with the end result. We'll hear from the head coach coming up.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. We're joined now, as always, by the head coach of North Dakota football, Bubba Schweigert. And for the 6th straight week, Coach, you got a win to talk about. It's been a really impressive run for your team. What have been some of the big keys in this last 6-game stretch?
Well, I think we've been able to focus on our day-to-day responsibilities and what we need to do to prepare for these games, and that's really helped us. And then we've just performed better on Saturday afternoons each and every week. With the exception of this week, I thought we had a little bit of step back in the first half. We had to refocus at halftime.
Yeah, never easy to go on the road, and this was a tough road trip out to Pocatello. It felt a little bit like that game against Montana State, where the defense bent a little bit but never really broke. Offensively took a little while to get going, a few too many penalties. What was different about this contest?
Well, we get a tip ball and they get excellent field position, you know, and they're at home and they're excited and they have a lot of talent. We knew if we were unable to force takeaways, this was going to be a 4-quarter battle, and that's what we expected. And they go up, and once you get down, you got to battle your way back into it. And you mentioned it, the penalties really affected our performance the first half.
You mentioned not getting any official takeaways. You did find a way to turn them over on downs a couple of times in that first quarter to get you back in the football game. I know those don't count as turnovers, but huge in this contest to keep you close.
Big 4th down stops, you know, and those are momentum plays, and you always look for those points in the game when you gain momentum. So defensively, we did a good job on 4th down, and that helped us on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I felt like they were really, defensively at least, determined to not let you run the football, and they really stuck a lot of guys up in the box. I think just 18 yards rushing in the first quarter. You eventually would find a way in the second half, but what were they doing to slow down that rushing attack?
Well, bringing a lot of different pressures and crowding the line of scrimmage, and everybody knows we want to run the football, and then we have to go to the air and loosen them up a bit. And the one thing with running the football, you need to be patient, because eventually you can wear teams down, and I think that's what happened and took place on Saturday afternoon.
You can see that at the start of the second quarter, the offense kind of started to get things going. 2 quick touchdown drives, just a couple of minutes apart. Those drives were impressive, but nothing compared to the one you had to start the third quarter that took 8 minutes off the clock, a really nice march down the football field.
Yeah, what we needed to do, and we knew, you know, with the coin toss, they chose to take the ball, and we knew we'd get the ball to start the second half, and that affected a little bit how we ended the half. We knew we were going to get the ball and challenge our guys in 8 minutes, 15 plays, and to get a touchdown was huge.
And that put you up 21-14. On that drive, you had a couple 4th down opportunities that you went for. You also tried a fake field goal, kind of the first little special teams trickery that we've seen this season. Talk about that play with John being the holder and running out.
Well, John made a great play, you know, a good effort play, and we feel like if we can get him out in space, he has an opportunity to make a play for us. So great individual effort by him.
Yeah, you would go up 28-14 a little later in the half, a great highlight reel catch from Josh Seibel. How important has he been to this team, especially with Luke Stanley now missing this past game?
Well, he's very important. You know, he was a solid performer for us in the past, and you know, we had to bring him along and keep getting him more and more involved. And what a great play he made. And, you know, that's what we need guys to do. When they get their opportunity, they got to step up and make those plays.
This was a game, unlike in recent weeks when you got that lead, you're up by 2 scores, you couldn't quite slam the door on them. There wasn't that final drive to finish the game off. They kind of hung around. They get a touchdown late, and it's up in the air again. Good balance by your team, though, to at least get that last first down to keep the football in your hands at the end.
Sure, you know, and we knew that they're explosive, and the more opportunities you give them, they're going to get some plays on us. So, you know, I was really proud of our special teams. You know, our onside kick receive team did a good job of getting on guys how we want to do it and got the ball back to the offense, and then we were able to run out the clock. But, you know, once again in the fourth quarter, there were a couple penalties that stalled some drives for us, and we got to get in those choice downs where we have the advantage, and the penalties kept us from that.
You finish out the game a 28-21 victory to stay unbeaten in the Big Sky. Does a game like this almost help the team just refocus a little bit moving forward with 3 big games now coming up down the stretch?
Well, I don't know. We just keep moving forward. You got to learn from your mistakes, and that's the way we approach it. We're going to learn on each and every Sunday, and we're going to teach, and our guys got to accept constructive criticism, and then we move toward the next opponent, which is a very good opponent coming to town, undefeated in the Big Sky.
Yeah, that's certainly a Weber State team coming off a big fourth quarter comeback. They scored 23 unanswered to get by Southern Utah a week ago. What do you expect from this Weber State team in Jay-Hill?
Well, we expect them to come in here with a lot of confidence, and they're very difficult to defend. They have a senior quarterback and a lot of good offensive weapons, and then they have improved much on defense. We think they're difficult to run the football against, and that's what we want to do. So it'll be good to be at home. We think that'll help us a bit, but we still got to really have a great week of preparation and get ready for another 4-quarter game.
Big game against Weber this weekend, 1 o'clock at the Alaris. Hope to see everybody out there. We'll be there as well. Coach, good luck with that one, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Bubba Schweigert. When we come back, UND volleyball here in studio with Mark Pryor. Stick around. Welcome back. Well, joining us in studio, as has been the custom this fall, the head women's coach for North Dakota volleyball, Mark Pryor. And Mark, coming in, actually last time we talked, you were riding a 6-game winning streak in conference. Weren't able to keep that going through the weekend, but you still managed to split. Just keep the momentum rolling here in the Big Sky.
I think it was important. We really did not play well at Idaho State. One of our worst matches in a long time, and still only lose by 2 points. So for us, if we can learn from that, I think it's a good thing. We were able to bounce back and get that split to kind of get back home. Keep us in second place in the league, still control our own destiny. So that's a good thing. You'd like to have a little more separation, but we could be in a lot worse spots right now.
Sure, of course. Looking back to that game on Friday in Pocatello, that had been a tough place for you guys to play over the years. You came out well, though, 2-0 really. What was working in those first 2 sets?
Really, we just had great energy, and we really weren't executing at a really high level, but we just stayed consistent, weren't giving up 3-point runs, and we just kept siding out. And then really coming out of the break, that just it was a complete disconnect in the 3rd and 4th set. And they played well. We really couldn't match in that energy. It just kind of went away. And it's something we've been fighting all year. And it kind of bit us. We were up 13-11 in the 5th, and then all of a sudden, 1 or 2 things, and it's 14-16, and we grab a loss. Yeah. We definitely pulled defeat from the jaws of victory that day.
You said in some of the post-game comments it was the most disappointing loss that you've had in your time at North Dakota. Just what about it stung so much?
Well, I think a lot of it is, we've talked with this team, we've pleaded with them, we've prodded them, we've scolded them. You can't run out the clock in our sport. You have to physically finish. And against good teams, you've got to be able to do that. And I think that even as a staff, we've talked about it's going to bite us at some point. We know that this is the issue these kids have had. We've got to find a way to correct it or it's going to bite us. And it finally did. Being up 2-0 on the road and in an environment that we should be able to take care of it, and then being up 13-11, even as bad as we played in 3 and 4, it's going to take us a little bit to get over that. And I hope that there's, honestly, I hope there's a little anger from it.
Sure.
And if we can learn that lesson, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, the one nice thing about the weekend and the travels, you didn't have a lot of time to dwell on that loss. You had to go the next day down to Ogden to play Weber State.
Right.
Split the first 2 sets, but then things kind of started to click for you offensively.
We did. First set was great. Second set, they went on a little run and could have tied it at 18. We had a bad play, so it went 19-17, and then they kind of able to finish it out. I do like the fact that it was 19-all in the 3rd set. We finished it with a 6-1 run. And then in the 4th set, we got up by 5 or 6, and then it was just continue to side out, and it was over with.
Yeah, you get the win to improve to 8-2 in the Big Sky this season. 3 players with double-digit kills for you, plus you benefit from another monster weekend from Sydney Griffin. She gets another double-double, her 7th of the season. 20 digs, career high on Friday, 51 assists on Saturday. She's really playing great volleyball.
She is. She's doing a good job. I think we're able to spread the ball out enough that she can kind of set anybody, and she's got confidence in doing that. And she was really offensive that Weber just didn't have an answer for, which helped us out, especially on the road after a really ugly loss on Friday to come back and Saturday, and for her to be that offensive and spread things out, take some tension off of our hitters. It was huge for us.
A different kind of week for you this week. A game tonight already, non-conference in Fargo against North Dakota State, then a 15-hour bus trip out to Montana to play Montana and Montana State.
Yes.
Do you approach a week like this, and you kind of have to, I suppose, a little differently
I
than
think
the rest
from a
of the
training
conference slate?
standpoint, we have to a little bit. And it's one of those things that we've talked about it. With where we are and with where that team down south is, this is a huge trap match for us. This makes their season. For us, it's like, okay, let's go into a hostile environment. There's a chance we might not host the conference tournament. So let's use this environment to go on the road, play against some hostile fans, to get us ready for what a conference tournament match might be like. And so that way, if we play well, great. And if we don't, okay, what can we learn from this to get us ready for our conference tournament?
Yeah, big couple games, certainly. Best of luck. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
bus ride.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
talk about it with you next week.
Thanks.
Mark Pryor. Stick around. UND women's hockey coming up next with Brian Idalski. All right, welcome back. Well, joining us now in studio, the head coach of the North Dakota women's hockey team, Brian Idalski. And Brian, coming into this weekend's off the back of a couple of good wins, a sweep over Minnesota State, including a 6-0 win in Game 1 of that series. Had to feel confident going into a weekend with #1 Wisconsin on the way.
Well, we felt pretty good coming out of that weekend as far as executing and some of the things that we were doing in regards to our offense and defensive play. So those were actually a couple nice games for us to kind of get a young group going and feeling confident about themselves. A lot of kids scoring their first goal.
Yeah, first big test of the season coming up this weekend, and you get the #1 team in the country who's always a very talented team, and that was the case that we saw this weekend. That game on Friday, Lexi saw her share of shots, but stopped more than not. A good performance from her all weekend.
Lexi was terrific. She gave us an opportunity to win a hockey game, and that's all you can ask from your goaltender. I thought she was seeing the puck really well and did a nice job controlling her rebounds. So really felt like we had plenty of opportunities there. We just couldn't capitalize, and a little credit goes to Wisconsin. They're a good team. I thought they executed really well.
Yeah, Friday was really a stalemate, almost through the entire 2/3 of this contest, and then right there in the third, they taken advantage of an opportunity. You maybe had the best opportunity of the game, though. Sarah LeCavalier with a breakaway chance that just didn't go her way.
Yeah, we were just talking to a couple of our kids about that. We scored there at the end of the second on the breakaway. We probably go on to win that game, and having a 5-on-3 in the third period and not capitalizing, and our breakaway with Menke, we had our chances. So we had to feel good about that. Unfortunately, we didn't parlay that much into a Saturday at all.
Yeah, they would get the 2-0 win on Friday, and they would come out the aggressor on Saturday afternoon. They take a quick 2-0 lead in the first period. What was the biggest difference just between that Friday night game and Saturday?
Well, I think playing with the lead is so huge. So when they were able to come out and play with a lead and then stretch it to 2, that really put them in control in the driver's seat. We were able to battle back and start feeling good about ourselves. Get it to 2-1, hoping to get into the third period with that, and they score another one and come out quickly in the third. And from a teaching standpoint, that's what you do when you're a quality team. When you get an opportunity, you bury it, and Wisconsin did that to us.
You mentioned some of the fight your team showed. It was 2-0. You do get that key third goal, a nice goal by Jordan Hampton, and then same thing, they build that 4-1 lead. You get another key one. A couple of nice goals. Rebecca Kolstad doing some good things for you. Even though it was a tough defeat and a tough series loss, still some bright spots to take moving forward.
Well, we understand we have a young club, and there's a lot of room to grow. The Wisconsin club, older club, their younger pieces aren't playing a lot of specific big key positions for them. So they're pretty close to what their pinnacle is, we felt like, and we feel like we have a lot of room to grow. So we took out of it that we're super excited to see them down the road, because we know we'll be a much better team in January than we are right now.
Yeah, that's got to give you a lot of hope. Again, it is a young team that is still growing. Probably a good test for them to see kind of what that next step up in competition looks like after a slower start to the season.
Absolutely. That was the first team really come after us and be in a skating game, and by far that's probably the fastest game, Alex, most of our younger kids have ever played in, let alone back-to-back like that. So great learning experience. I thought we did a lot of good things, definitely some things to improve on.
You get a different challenge now this weekend, taking on a ranked Bemidji State team that is much like the way their men's team is built. They're going to play defense and hang on to the puck. What are some of the goals coming into this series against the Beavers? What do you need to do to be successful?
Well, culturally, exactly the same. You're going to hear the same phrases from their program on the women's side. Tough to play against, defend well, block shots, don't make anything easy, and opportunistic at the offensive end. So a big key to us is how we possess the puck and how aggressive we are getting to the net. Something I thought our men's team did great. They attacked the paint from any chance they had and took it hard to the net. We have to learn that lesson. We have to play the same way if we're going to score some goals.
Home on Friday, away on Saturday, Coach. Best of luck in those contests. We'll talk about with you soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Al.
Brian Idalski. Back in a moment to wrap things up here on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
This Thursday night, don't miss the 3rd annual North Dakota Basketball Fan Fest presented by Midco Sports Network, featuring a slam dunk contest, a 3-point shootout, autographs, prizes, and much more. It's a great event, free to the public, and starts at 7 p.m. at the Betty Engelstad Sioux Center. Then on Saturday, UND football back home at the Alerus Center and live on Midco SN. The Fighting Hawks take on fellow Big Sky unbeaten Weber State at 1 p.m. Remember, prior to the game, stop by the Midco tailgate party anytime from 10:30 a.m. until kickoff for free food, giveaways, and prizes. If you can't make it to the Alerus in person, Ryan Kosowski, Kelly Howe, and I will have the call on Midco SN 2. That's our secondary channel. Later that night on Saturday, number 1 North Dakota men's hockey hits the road for the first time this season to take on number 2 Minnesota Duluth. A great matchup there at Amsoil Arena. We've got it for you here on Midco SN. The puck drops at 7 p.m. We hope you join us for both of those games this weekend and again next Tuesday night here on UND Sports Extra. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching.